Hello guys, it's Ryan Ho, back with another video. Today we're going to talk about the DAC amp that looks like a flask. So this is the Hip DAC 3. I actually reviewed the first one and the second one. So essentially what happened was I liked the first one so much that I recommended it to a friend, and then he bought it and I reviewed the second one. But the key thing is I recommended it to my friends. I also recommended it a lot in my comment section below. I really do think it's one of the best devices that Ifi makes. And this is essentially a portable DAC amp with a built-in battery, but they made some improvements to this compared to the previous version. It puts out a lot of power, so it puts out 400 milliwatts into 32 ohms. So I have the HiFiMan HE6 right here. This is one of the hardest to drive headphone, if not the hardest, and it could drive that headphone really well. So it's definitely has a lot of juice. The other thing about this is they basically upgraded it in 3 ways, right? So they basically gave it a USB-C now. They kind of increased some of the sound quality by, they call it metal film capacitors. And then the last thing is they have IE match on this now, which they didn't have on the previous version. And what that really leads to is if you're using like IEMs and stuff, you can basically plug it into this, turn on IE match, because IEMs don't really require that much power. So when you have a device this powerful, you can barely move the volume dial essentially. And with the IE match, you can actually have more volume to kind of move. So it's really nice that it has this, and the IE match is available for both the 3.5 millimeter and the 4.4. So this really sums up to a device that I already liked a lot, recommended a lot, and they just made it better. So this is definitely going to be an easy review for me because I listened to it and it sounds even better than I remember it. But of course, I am using better gear nowadays to listen to it. So let's get into the details. We'll do some comparisons and we'll talk about the sound. All right, so we have the Hip DAC here, and it comes with 2 included cables. So you get 2 USB-C cables. One terminates into a normal USB type A. So this device actually has 2 USB-C ports. So one is actually for power on the right, and the one on the left is actually for audio. So if you're using your phone, you would connect it through there. And yeah, so you can actually plug in one to just only power it and one to play audio, so you're not kind of doing both at the same time. It will lead to like cleaner audio essentially. Now taking a look at the front of this device, we have the standard ports as you can see. So the left one is your power match, so you click it and it'll turn on, and you click it, it'll turn off where the gain is low. And here is bass boost, so you have that, your X bass is on. The bass boost is actually pretty considerable, so if you want a pretty sizable bass boost, that will give you that. It's very nice, especially for those open back headphones. All right, so we have the kind of dial over here, so you push it to power on, power off. We have the Pentacon balance connector, and then we have the 3.5 millimeter connector. As we talked about earlier, it kind of labels everything on the bottom, but the new feature is the kind of IE match, so you have it off, 3.5 and 4.4, so you can determine which one you want IE match to apply to. Very nice, very easy type of stuff they kind of set up for you. So when it comes to kind of the build of this, it has this kind of aluminum finish that has this titanium shadow color. Now I have the new iPhone that has natural titanium, so the color definitely varies. It's not the same, but it's quite interesting. The actual build, like I said, is nice and solid. It feels very good, constructed really well. Something that I noticed about this compared to the prior versions is I actually noticed the buttons actually kind of protrude out a little bit more, and they're a little bit easier to press down is what I noticed. So that's kind of an improvement, and they feel a little bit more, I guess, tactile, and they don't shift as much too. So it seems like they did upgrade those a little bit from the prior. So how does this sound? So, I mean, for sound to me, it's always like a comparison. I just feel like it makes it a little easier to kind of judge. So we have this little dongle here. This is the Ifi Go Link. It's there, I think like $70 around there. This is a lot more expensive at like $199, so $200 essentially. And I would definitely say that this is an upgrade over the Go Link. The most obvious upgrade is the fact that it has a built-in battery, so it doesn't drain your phone battery when you're using it, or your computer, or whatever device you plug into. The second thing is it has all the features like IE match, bass boost. It also outputs a lot more power. So there's a lot of things that are upgraded from this. But the main concern is also sound, right? And the fact that this is also balanced, so you have more output power because of that too. And so when it comes to the sound, I do think it has better, what people call transients. Essentially, when it comes to kind of the treble and the bass, you can definitely hear that it's able to kind of move faster. It's able to kind of reach higher heights. The trebles just sound overall cleaner and reproduce much better than on the Go Link. You can definitely hear that difference. In fact, I would argue that sounds better than the kind of Ifi DAC Air and Can. Those two things actually don't sound as good as this, which I think is hilarious that this little flask sounds better than their kind of cheaper type of desktop stuff. So I think it's actually a really, really good sound, especially something that you can bring on the go. And I really do think it's about the details and how really, like, you can definitely tell in the treble exactly how much higher it extends and how much more detail, how much more resolving it is than its kind of cheaper counterparts. And I do think that's the thing that stood out a lot for me. I was using the Diane MR to test. It's like my most detailed headphone, and you can easily tell how much more it kind of edges out its kind of cheaper brothers. So if you are looking for an upgrade, I do think this is definitely worth it. And when it comes to kind of the whole entire sound stage and stuff, I do find it a little bit wider than this as well. I do think the desktop stuff that they have might have a bigger sound stage in that sense, but this one doesn't lag too far behind. Now, the thing I like the most about this as well is that it actually has a 4.4 Pentacon. The thing that actually happened to me was that I only had this as like a mobile DAC amp when I went to Can Jam. And I was like, okay, I could probably get by with this. Like, honestly, there's a few devices that I plugged into this that just didn't have enough juice to run. Like one IEM straight up just didn't make any noise on this. And I plugged this into the FIO FT3. That headphone had like 300 ohms and it just sounded terrible off of this. And then I plugged it into like a desktop DAC amp and it sounded like really good. So this thing definitely didn't have enough power for some of my needs. And so I'm actually eyeing this as like, yeah, this definitely has enough power and it actually has a balance ports, which helps a lot for at least my use case. So for me, this is really that like perfect device that I feel like if you're going to enter into a kind of mobile DAC amp type of thing, this has this juice and the plugs and all the necessary things that you need to get started, honestly. So in conclusion, the Hip DAC 3 is something that, you know, I recommended the Hip DAC 2 to my friends and they bought it and they loved it. The 3 is just better than that. It sounds even better as well. So obviously, I'm definitely going to recommend the Hip DAC 3. It's something that I'm even eyeing myself. So it's a very good device and I would happily recommend this to anybody. Anyways, I hope this video helped you guys. Please like and subscribe down below. Helps my videos out and I'll see you guys in the next video.